Good morning, family, and welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Wednesday, December 3rd, 2008, and today we're reading Exodus chapter 15, and remember what we got through yesterday, that the Egyptians are defeated and the children of Israel are moving on. And we see at the beginning of this chapter that they're actually praising and giving thanks to God, which is, of course, the correct thing that you should do whenever you recognize the Lord does something for you. You praise Him and you give Him thanks for that. But there's something I was reading that stuck out to me, a couple of things. So, like always, I encourage you to read the entire chapter through for yourself, because there's a lot in this chapter that you can get, and you can email us. We'll add it to the blog. But there was something that stuck out to me. I was reading, because remember, you can learn from other people. You can learn from other people's successes, and you can also learn from other people's mistakes. So, one thing I saw, even as they were praising God and giving Him thanks, which I'll repeat is absolutely correct, was that they started to say that, you know, the Dukes of Edom were going to be, we're going to hear the news and we're going to be afraid. The Moabites were going to tremble, and the Canaanites were going to basically melt away, and they were just going to be able to pass over them. And one thing I got from that, and I believe this was a mistake, I'll say, that the children of Israel were making, was that they were underestimating their opponents or their enemies at that time. They were underestimating the task that was before them. And why this can be a lesson for life is that's one of the greatest mistakes that you can make in life, is when you underestimate the challenge that is ahead of you, and you don't fully prepare yourself really for what is going to be coming up. And you think, like the children of Israel, just saying, oh, well, the Lord's going to do this, and they're going to hear what the Lord did before, and they're just going to basically just give up the land and just, let the children of Israel march in. And what they're not, by doing that, what they're not doing is really preparing themselves for the battle and the challenge that's going to be ahead of them. And in life, you have certain things that you want to do. Let's say you go on a job interview, and it's for a place that might be, they might dress casually or whatever. So you say, okay, you go and you dress casually and you go for this interview, and you think you might be the only one coming there, and you're underestimating the opposition that you're going to be facing. And then when you actually show up there, there's 20 other applicants, and they're dressed down to dressed in the full three-piece suit, and they're all dressed up. So you've underestimated your opponent in that sense. And also, just another scenario, let's say a boxer who is preparing to fight another boxer, and there's preparation that goes beforehand, and you're going as a boxer, and you think you're going to just steamroll over this other guy, and you don't prepare, you eat whatever food, you don't spend that time in the gym, and then you go to the fight and you get your butt whipped because you didn't really prepare. You underestimated your enemy. So it's actually better, as opposed to being underprepared or underestimating your challenge or your opposition. So it's better for you to be overly prepared and overly overly ready to take on whatever challenge that is. So that's one of the lessons that we can get from even in this chapter. As they were giving thanks to God, they were kind of taking what was going to be coming up for granted, that they was going to just be walking right over. And it's kind of funny, because you see all this, how they're praising God and how they're giving God thanks for, all that He has done, which I'll repeat again is absolutely correct. But then you'll see 3 days after they get into the wilderness, and they start to murmuring and they start to complaining to Moses that they don't have any water. So it's actually really amusing that they're saying that they're going to be able to walk right over the enemy, and then 3 days later they're questioning whether they're going to even survive because they don't have any water. So another thing that I got from this, even in just saying that, was you really need to be true to the things that you say and really believe the things that you say. And there was something Mommy and I were even talking about recently, that we say, and I've said it before on Lessons for Life, that really God is in control, and everything happens for a reason, and everything happens in our life for a reason. So you can never really be too bent out of shape or downtrodden because something negative might happen, because you remember, everything happens, whether positive or negative, in your life for a reason. So if something negative happens, then you need to really just sit back and look at it, evaluate it, and see it for what it is, and get your lesson from it. But you can never be so beat down over something negative happening in your life but really just see it for what it is, as what you said. And if you said it before, like I said it before on here, everything happens for a reason, and God is supreme authority in our life. And then whenever something happens in your life, then you have to really now you have to kind of put what you said to the test and really believe what you said. So now the children of Israel were praising God all this time, and they were doing this, and 3 days later they actually were concerned because they didn't have water, and they started to murmur to Moses. So the Lord, as you continue to read, you see that they was provided water, that He showed Moses where to get water from, and you see that the Lord also speaks to Moses, and Moses speaks to the people, and He reminds them about even their partnership and how they're supposed to be able to hear from the Lord and obey His statutes and His commandments, and follow after the Lord, even as we were talking about yesterday, and really confirming some of the things about that partnership, being in that partnership with the Lord, and how if you're in that partnership, then He's going to keep you, and He's going to, and it says here that He'll keep them from all the sicknesses or that the Egyptians were subject to. So with that is today's lessons for life. Go ahead and create yourself a wonderful, blessed day today, and we will talk again tomorrow.